Two, one, two, one, two, one, two. Good morning and welcome to a very special edition of the I Am the Possible podcast experience, the live experience. Wanted to do something a little new this morning, a little different this morning. And so I should be live. I should be streaming this morning to both Facebook as well as YouTube. And hope and pray that from a technical perspective, everything is connected because we're going to roll with it. Today, I want to talk to you about suffering and supply. Suffering and supply. I want to be an encouragement to that individual out there today that may be suffering. You may be going through a season in your life, a time in your life where you're suffering. There's something that's tormenting you, something that's challenging you, something that it's like a thorn, even as the Bible talks about a thorn in your side, and you just can't seem to shake that thorn. It's there and it's been there. It has shamed you for years. It has caused you much suffering. And today I'm not here to tell you that I know exactly what it is or why it is, if it'll ever leave. I'm not here to tell you today that somehow, some way, magically and mysteriously, it's going to vanish. But I am here today to tell you a story from my own personal life, a story about my own suffering, and a story of how the pieces of the puzzle are starting to be put into place in this season of my life. And perhaps it'll be an encouragement to you. Perhaps it will empower you. Perhaps it will intrigue you. Perhaps it will give value. Perhaps you'll be able to see yourself in what I'll share this morning. Suffering and supply. Suffering is something that we all can identify with. It's one of those common threads in humanity. It's something that we all deal with to some degree. We all suffer in some way. I once heard that pain is of the body, suffering is of the mind. And suffering is something that we all have to deal with to some degree, to some level, at some age and stage in our lives. We suffer because things are not the way that we desire them to be, or there's things that are in our lives that we just don't desire for them to really be there, but nevertheless they are still there. And so I just wanted to meet you where you are this morning and say that I too have suffered and suffered greatly. And today I want to share with you a specific way that I've suffered in the form of stuttering. I started stuttering around the age of 7. And now that I'm in therapy, I believe that I know what contributed to me beginning to stutter. I think it was some of the trauma that I experienced, some of the drama that I experienced at an even younger age, seeing things in the home, around the home, that someone that age, well, actually, no one should ever have to endure or ever have to witness. But even at that young age, there were things that I witnessed that were um, disturbing, things that were done to me or said to me that were disturbing. And I believe that it led to this speech impediment, this stuttering, this inability to clearly articulate my words, to say what I wanted to say, when I wanted to say it, and how I wanted to say it. And because I stuttered, you know how kids are at that age, I suffered the wrath of childhood, being bullied, being talked about, made fun of. They picked on me, they gave me names. So my self worth, my value, the way I saw myself, the way I thought about myself, the way I felt about myself was beginning to be torn down at a very early age. As we say, it was in those formative years, the years where you're soaking up life like a sponge. You're trying to learn how to identify with yourself, with other people. You're trying to fit in, you're trying to belong, you're trying to establish yourself, you're trying to be accepted. You want to be accepted, you want to fit in, you want to be a part of this thing called life. You want to be a part of the family, you want to be a part of your environment. And yet, at the age of 7, as I began to stutter and I began to be made fun of, I began to become the joke. I wasn't accepted, rather, I was rejected. I was always last to be picked. I was always pushed away. I was never let into the cool club, to the cool kids club, right? I was never a part of the popular club. And so more and more, right, I began to focus on this issue that I had, this problem that I had. Because the thing about stuttering and the thing about anything that is like a physical challenge for you, and maybe you guys can relate to this. If you can, drop a comment down. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on a Facebook, just drop me a comment. I relate. Hashtag I relate, right? Um, Let me know that you're feeling me, man. But if you have anything, you don't have to share what yours is, but if you have anything that's going on physically, that you look around you and you see everyone else, and it seems like no one else has that problem. You're the only one that's dealing with it, right? And you start to really feel some type of way about yourself because you're the only one dealing with it, so it seems. I didn't find anybody else that stuttered in my life. Like, I didn't, like, all of those childhood years, I didn't have another friend. I didn't have another person. I never came across, excuse me, I never came across another person that stuttered. Everyone else spoke perfectly, so it seemed to me. And so that magnified my misery, that magnified my issue. I'm the only one. And at that time, I didn't have any concept of God. So I wasn't blaming God yet. I wasn't mad at God. It was just, why me? Look at me. I'm the one that's like this, and everyone else is perfectly fine. Right? That was the dynamic that I was working in. That was the context that I'm working in. And maybe you feel that way. You feel ashamed, you feel embarrassed, you feel some type of way because everyone else seems to be doing just fine in this particular area that you're struggling with, and your struggling is leading to your suffering. But I'm about to connect some dots for you, just in and through my own life. So, as I said, as I was growing up and I was suffering because I was stuttering, something that I couldn't control, something that I didn't give myself, something that I didn't do to myself. But nevertheless, other people made me feel self-conscious and embarrassed by it, and they shamed me because of it, and they picked on me because of it, and I hated myself because of it, and I was angry with myself, and I judged myself, and I was critical of myself because of this thing that I had to deal with but no one else had to deal with, so it seemed, and I didn't give it to myself. So what the heck is going on? Have you ever felt that way? Like, have you ever been in that position where it's like, dude, I didn't do this to myself. I didn't make up these circumstances. I didn't make up this situation, but yet I'm still suffering through it. God, what's going on? I'm saying that now, right? As an adult, or, someone older. But at that time, I wasn't saying God. I was just saying, like, man, why me? What's going on? So now let's fast forward. All right. I don't want to belabor that point too long. I think you guys get it. I suffered. I cried a lot. I was isolated a lot. I was on my own a lot. I had to make up a lot of my life right here in my imagination. Okay. But I'll save that for another stream. So this was my childhood, my early teens. Wasn't until I got until It wasn't until I got into high school that I started to speak a little better. So got into high school, still had the stuttering problem, still couldn't quite get some words out, couldn't start some sentences because they started with certain letters. It was just kind of like a tongue tie situation. But I got through, right? Got through high school, and fast forward coming into adulthood now. I'm leaving a lot out because I want to get to the supply piece, because some of you may be saying, what is this suffering and supply? What do you mean by supply? Okay, so let's fast forward. Now at this point, I'm an adult. I'm married. I've got my first child. We moved out here to Southern California, and I want to share this quick little story just so that you have a backdrop as to why I believe this, and then I want to connect the dots for you real quick. Okay, so we came out here. We got married in Toledo, Ohio. Shout out to anybody that's watching from Ohio. Shout out to Toledo. We got married in Ohio, and then we moved here to Southern California in 2001. So 2001, we move out here, and I can't remember the exact month or year, but like not too far after that, right? Like not too long after that, I was a part of a men's ministry, and I was invited to speak, to share like a 15-minute message on the life of Jesus. And I don't even remember why they thought I should even share, because at that time I wasn't Pastor Travell. I wasn't anything. I wasn't speaking, coaching. I wouldn't do anything. I was just new to the area. But for whatever reason, I was picked and given the opportunity to share this 15-minute message about Jesus. And so I did. And Pastor Eric Brown, mighty, mighty man of God, precious man of God, who has gone on to be with the Lord, man, he after I shared the message, he came up to me and he said, Travell, you are a teacher. Put a hand on my shoulder, looked me in the eye, said, man, you're a teacher. And it resonated with me. Like it did something for me. And I was like, yo, what is this teacher thing? And so, long story short, I just began to research and study and take assessments about spiritual gifts. And I found out that teaching was a spiritual gift. It was a part of the fivefold ministry. And I began to do assessments, learning what a teacher meant biblically, obviously, just generally what it meant to be a teacher, someone who was able, had the ability, the anointing, the blessing, whatever you want to call it. But I have the ability easily to learn information, retain information, and regurgitate information in such a way that others can understand it. I help to make complicated things easy to understand, simple. And so uh, I began to really home in on that. Like, yo, man, that's it right there. Like it felt real. It felt home. I loved to do it. Now that was 2001. Today it's 2025. 24 years later, right? What am I doing right now? Teaching, speaking, educating, coaching, mentoring. I've authored 3 books. Like teaching is what I am. It's what I do. It's a part of who I am. It's a part of the service. It's a part of the supply. It's a part of the supply. There's some beautiful connection that God allows between the suffering and the supply. We all began in the mind of our Creator. We all began as God's idea. And as with any idea, you are an answer to a question, a solution to a problem. That's what ideas are. Answers to questions, solutions to problems. Ideas contribute. They contribute to the world. If and when we have a problem before us, what do? We brainstorm. We come up with ideas. We sit around and we think, how can we solve this? What's the answer to this question? What's the solution to this problem? So we think, we come up with an idea, and then one day, ding, the little light bulb comes on, and we have this grand idea, and then we execute. We bring the idea from the mental to the material, and we solve the problem or we answer the question. And so you and I, we are God's idea. We are a part of God's imagination. We are a part of God's intention. We are a contribution ultimately to the betterment of society and to this world, but very specifically in the form of a supply. We are designed, created for supply. We are a contribution in and of ourselves. We were designed and created to supply the world with something. One of the greatest things that I've ever heard: the world has nothing for you. The world has nothing for you. You have everything for the world. You're full of something. You are something that is to be given, to be offered, to be contributed. It's what you are. You are God's idea, intention, imagination. That's what you are. And so, as we tie the suffering to the supply, it's funny how the very thing that I suffered with, one of many, I'm going to be sharing all of my stories here because I've been mentored by, I've been advised by someone that I highly respect and admire to begin to share my story. Others have said it before. He wasn't the first person to say it. but he said it at the right time, in the right place, in the right season. And I heard it like I haven't heard it before. So I'm sharing my stories, and I'm going to continue to share my stories and share my sufferings. Anyway, suffering with just stuttering. This is the one I'm sharing today. The stuttering suffering is attached to the supply. The supply of what? Well, I am seeing more and more men that don't have a voice in their minds. They lack value in their minds, and they don't have a vision. I believe that a part of what I am to do in this world is to speak into, to share, to supply men with what they need to begin to discover and to develop their voice, their value, and their vision. I believe that. I accept that. I've been avoiding that. I was told that many years ago, and I avoided it for whatever reason. I'm not avoiding it anymore. I'm okay with it. I'm embracing it. Yes and amen. So, the man who had no voice, physically, if you want to say it, the devil was trying to take my voice away for my church folk. Or you can just say life, or you can just say whatever you want to say. However it plays out, it doesn't matter the source. I just know that as a child, I didn't feel like I had a voice. I didn't feel like I could say anything, like anyone would take me serious, like I ever could fit in. And what happens when you don't have a voice? What happens? You don't believe that you have any value. And if you don't have any value, then what happens? There's no need to have a vision because ain't nobody gonna take me serious anyway. You see how that works? Ah, the dots are starting to connect. The pieces of the puzzle are starting to snap into place. My suffering, and this is the last thing that I want to share with you. I believe it was necessary. It was necessary. Do you know how sensitive I am? And I don't want to lose that sensitivity, but do you know how sensitive I am to the sufferings of men? Every time I look into a man's eyes and he's not speaking up, he's not standing up, he's not standing out, how much that hurts. Every time I look into a man's eyes and I know that they have no idea how valuable they are. Every time I look into the eyes of a man and I know they can't articulate a clear vision. Not because I'm judgmental and I'm just judging men randomly. No, it's because I've been in countless conversations with men over the last 25 years. As a pastor, as a mentor, as a friend, as a man. Voice, value, vision. It's something that God's graced me with, allowed me to suffer the lack of, and then blessed me over the last 25 years to discover it, to begin to develop it. And I believe now in this season of life, it's time to deploy it. Yeah, I'm a pastor. I got my 3 points. Just part of the culture, man. So, to you who today struggles, suffers, questions God, questions yourself, Why? Why me? I want to say to you today, why not you? For you today who is saying, take it away. I say to you, maybe ask why you have it. To you today, the person that's at the edge of the edge, hold on, man. Don't jump. Don't stop. Perhaps what you've been allowed to suffer is directly connected to what you have been graced, empowered to supply. For me, that encourages my soul when I'm broke, when the results aren't there, when you don't feel like you have a friend in the world, when nothing is coming together. My soul is encouraged to hold on and to keep on keeping on, as a close friend, brother, and mentor encourages me often to do. So, more to come. More to come with these live streams. More to come with the sharing of my life. More to come with the service and the support of men in this space. More to come of the contribution that God's created me to be. And I hope and pray that today has added value. Today's story, illustrations, points have done something for you in some way on a level that helps cultivate the transformation, the change, the clarity, the confidence that you desire. That is it. That is it. Love you guys. I'm praying for you guys. I'm believing in you guys. Yep. I am Travell C.W. Lynch, Mr. What? This is a live special edition episode of the I Am the Possible podcast experience, the place where possibilities become perspective. Thank you guys for giving me your time and your attention. Please, if you're watching live or the replay, have any questions, comments, feedback, if you desire to share it, if you desire to tell somebody about it, if you're just listening on the podcast, whatever it might be, I greatly appreciate your presence. All right. Until next time, man, you guys be good. You guys stay up. You guys stay encouraged.